We got a pretty sweet void build for you today that really takes advantage of offense and defensive capabilities by turning you invisible, giving you resistances, as well as making enemies weakened. You're gonna have infinite uptime on those smoke bomb charges, so this build can be used solo, but it can also be used in a fire team. We're gonna do this a little differently by showing you the build, the exotics, the artifact, and the mods all really fast right at the beginning, and then we'll talk about why the build's so good right after that. So jumping into the subclass, we're using the Shadow Shot Deadfall, Gambler's Dodge, Triple Jump, a Vortex Grenade. For your aspects, Vanishing Step, Trapper's Ambush. For our fragments, we're using Echo of Persistence, Echo of Remnants, Echo of Obscurity, and Echo of Starvation. For your main exotic, the Omnioculus, and for your weapon, the Monte Carlo. Other than that, you can use any Void special weapon, and if you happen to have one with destabilizing rounds, then that is preferred. And for your heavy, it's entirely up to you. I was just using a machine gun because I was using it for overload champions. Here's a quick look at the artifact and the armor mods if you want to pause the video here to copy them down really quickly. So the main part of this build is taking advantage of having 2 smoke bomb charges, which are smoke bombs are pretty unique because intrinsically they weaken targets. So whether you throw them at targets or you can dive into the ground near targets, any part of it hits the target, it's going to weaken them. And this isn't your like full weaken like a tether. This is like half of that. So I think it's 15% the smoke bomb will weaken. This allows us not to use the weaken fragment for our grenade because we're going to have basically infinite uptime on smoke bomb charges. So you can constantly be weakening targets. And because we're using the Omnioculus, whenever we're invisible, we're going to gain damage resistance. Also, our teammates that we make invisible will gain damage resistance, and we'll gain smoke bomb charges whenever we use the smoke bomb on a teammate. Trapper's Ambush is really good because we're going to activate Quick Fall to spin our melee charge and dive into the ground, creating a large smoke cloud on impact, which then dissipates. Targets caught in the cloud are weakened and allies are made invisible. So with this, we can dive into the ground. We'll make any ally nearby invisible, give them damage resist. We'll also make any enemy weakened. And since they get hit with that smoke bomb, it's also going to make them disoriented for a short duration. Gambler's Dodge is important because whenever we dodge near target, it's going to refund our melee ability. And that's going to be combining with our other aspect, which is Vanishing Step. Whenever we dodge, it's going to make us invisible. I like the Vortex Grenade because it does a lot of damage over time, and we can extend the duration with Echo of Remnants. And we don't need to make the grenade cause weakened effects because we'll have so many smoke bomb charges. We can just smoke the target and then throw a grenade at them. We're going to be invisible quite a bit with our smoke bombs and our dodge, so Echo of Persistence can allow that invisibility to last longer. And we'll also be utilizing Devour from Echo of Starvation, so whenever we pick up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power, we're going to gain Devour, which Devour is just going to heal us to full health anytime we kill an enemy, and it's also going to give us grenade energy. And just for that extra survivability, we're using Echo of Obscurity. Whenever we finish a combatant, it's going to grant us invisibility. Now the exotic we're using is the Monte Carlo because while it is possible to have infinite smoke bombs just by using the Omnioculus and our dodge, this is gonna make it a lot easier, so we don't have to really worry about how we use our smoke bomb. We can just use it whenever and wherever, because the Monte Carlo, whenever we deal damage with the weapon, it reduces our melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge our melee ability with each kill. This weapon also gains increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon. And if you have the Catalyst done at 5 stacks of the Markov chain, you can switch to the bayonet mode and it's going to do a lot of extra damage. The artifact really isn't that important. We can utilize Elemental Orbs Void if we're using a Void weapon. And if you are using a machine gun with Overload, then you want the Overload mod. And all these other perks are for Elemental Orbs. So if you're in a fire team who's creating a lot of them, then you're going to want Elemental Fury, which makes stunned champions take bonus damage from our abilities and Elemental Orbs, as well as refreshing pickups. Whenever we pick up a Tangle or Elemental Orb, it's going to grant energy for our least powered ability, which hopefully is our grenade. Elemental Munitions. Combatant final blows with tangles or elemental orbs have a chance to drop special or heavy ammo. This isn't that important because we're using the Monte Carlo quite a bit, as well as our abilities. And the Monochromatic Maestro. This one works pretty well because whenever we deal damage with an ability, it increases matching weapon damage, and elemental weapon damage increases ability damage. So if you're using a void weapon, this is just going to allow our abilities to do more damage, and your abilities will allow your weapons to do more damage. Now for your mods, we really need to be making those orbs of power. So you want some type of void siphon and also probably a kinetic siphon for the Monte Carlo. If you have any free space in your helmet, you can use dynamo to reduce your super cooldown whenever we dodge near targets. In your arms, you should have impact induction, causing damage with a melee attack reduces our grenade cooldown. And since we have a lot of melee charges, basically infinite, whenever we smoke an enemy, it's just going to deal that damage and give us some grenade energy back, as well as grenade kickstart. Just throwing our grenade, it's going to refund grenade energy, and firepower. Whenever we kill an enemy with our grenade, it's going to create an orb of power. The way I use this build is I kind of will either dive on teammates, which refunds your melee ability and makes them invisible, or you can just dive on enemies, which will weaken them and turn you invisible, so you can kind of get away and then you can shoot at them. And since we're close up, the melee damage resists really well, as well as concussive dampener. In our boots, we're using recuperation to replenish health each time we pick up an orb of power, innervation to reduce our grenade cooldown when we pick up an orb of power, and absolution to reduce all ability cooldowns when we pick up an orb of power. This is going to keep our health well stocked, as well as our grenade much higher uptime. In our class item, make sure you're using bomber to reduce grenade cooldown whenever we dodge, as well as 2 powerful attractions. It's going to extend the radius, and it's going to automatically collect nearby orbs of power whenever we dodge. So just by dodging, we're going to get a lot of different benefits. So with this build, you want to make sure you're constantly either throwing smoke bombs or diving into enemies or allies, and just play around those smoke bombs as much as possible. Make sure you're dodging near targets, give you a lot of different benefits like recharge your smoke bomb, collect all the nearby orbs of power to give you grenade energy, and heal you. And if you ever find yourself out of smoke bombs, just start shooting things with the Monte Carlo and you'll be good to go. This runs on essentially an infinite loop if you're using it correctly. And that's all I got for this video. If you want to see more build videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.